Since we don't want to get caught, we plan ahead, are we crazy or what? We plan ahead, are we crazy or what?
Okay, so we're going to be talking all about habits today. In case I'm just showing up in your feed and you have no idea who I am, my name is Jennifer Osich, and I am the author of the Preparedness Planner series and the brand new From Seed to Pantry Planner. So that is who I am. I'm a lead teacher also at Self-Reliance School. Put in the comments what habit you want to form for this year. Also, tell me what your worst habit is that you already have and your best habit that you already have. So let me know in the comments what those are in terms of growing, cooking, and preserving your own food. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about mindset, goals, and now we're going to talk about habits. And honestly, I feel like habits is the most important of the three, and we're going to get to why in just a second. But we have been talking about all of these things, and there are videos that I did, live shows that we did. We talked all about mindset and how important it was, and then also we talked about goals and how important those were. And Bill, my wonderful husband, who is my producer, who sits on the other side of the camera, he will put those in the comments as soon as I give him the link. Okay, so here is the link for mindset, and then I'm going to give the link to the goals show that we did too, because you really have to have all three. I mean, it's just honestly, you have to have all of them have their place, right? But today we're going to talk about habits, and like I said, if I had to focus on just one, it would be this one. Okay, so moving on. Like I said, let me know in the comments what your best habit is, and if you feel like sharing your worst habit. Let me know what those are in the comments, and then also, what habit do you want to form for 2019 that you just haven't been able to do yet? Okay, so the other thing is, do you think that your habits have held you back? Like if you look back to 2018, even 2017, do you think you have some habits that may have held you back, right? Held you back in terms of achieving your goals. So that's just food for thought. You can put those in the comments too if you feel like sharing. You don't have to if you don't want to. And we have to think about this like in a very precise, breaking it down sort of thing. What do you think has prevented you from forming these habits? I mean, have you looked at just your daily routine, the things you do? Do you think there's something in there that has prevented you from forming these good habits that you really want to form? Okay. And then on the flip side, because we all have some good habits, I hope, right? How did you do that? How did you form those good habits? What has aided you in doing that? So those are really important things to look at because, we might take a little bit of that information and apply it now, right? So if you know something that sort of helped you form a good habit, if you break that down and understand what it was, then maybe you can transfer some of it. Okay, so a lot of what I'm going to be talking about is from this book. I love this book. Read it in December. It's probably backwards on Instagram. I apologize. But it's called Atomic Habits, and it's by James Clear. And this is a super, super good book. It's easy to understand. It doesn't have a lot of psychological jargon or anything. But there's, some good proof of the things that he's talking about. So I highly, highly recommend that book. I don't have any affiliation or anything to it, but I just really read it and loved it. So here's the thing. Everything that I'm going to tell you is probably something that you've heard in one version or another before. But the thing is that it may have been isolated and not in the context that I'm going to put it in. So hopefully that will help. So, there's nothing new under the sun, right? It takes work, and it takes repetition. And we all know that about habits. But I just want to examine some of these things so that if we do have some bad habits that we're trying to break, then this might be helpful. And then also it might be a little bit of motivation to go ahead and form some of those good habits that you so desire. Okay, and then all along I'll be looking at comments and making sure we're still where we are and all of that. Okay, so let me just back up. And because I just sent out an email, if you are not on our email list, you need to get on our email list, because that's how you're going to know about when I go live, and that's how you're going to know about everything about Self-Reliance School. But I just sent out an email, and the subject line was, what if you just improved by 1%? So 1%, oh my goodness, nobody wants to improve just by 1%. That's like, well, you're moving in the right direction, right? It's just that motivational percent, right? Well, that is true. I mean, going forward is better than standing still or moving backward for sure. But the thing is, it might have more impact than you think. And in the book, in Atomic Habits, James Clear, he talks about, for an example, it's just a great example, so I want to share it with you. He talks about a British cycling team, and they were just at the bottom of all competition everywhere. Just couldn't win anything. It was one of those things where they just participated just for the participation award type thing. Okay, so they got a new coach, and he implemented something called the aggregation of marginal gains. So basically what that means is he looked at every single thing, like every single thing it takes to ride a bike, like in competition. So he looked at the seat, and he looked at the clothes, and he looked at even the vehicles that they transferred the bicycles with. He looked at the tires. He looked at all of these things, right? And he was trying to make just a 1% improvement in every single one of these little areas. So 1% is not moving very far, right? It's just a little bit, right? So he did things like he changed the clothes, the shorts that the cyclers wore to help them maintain optimal body temperature while they were riding. He hired a surgeon to help demonstrate how to wash your hands so they wouldn't get sick. I mean, who would think of that, right? They redesigned the seats, and that's a bigger thing, but still, instead of training harder, they went and looked at something else. I mean, I'm sure they trained harder too, but still. They rubbed alcohol on the tires so the tires would get a better grip. And so they did a bunch of things like this. These are just some of the examples. If you want to read the whole story, you should totally buy the book. Okay, so the thing is, the result, and like I said, they were bottom of the barrel. The result, during a 10-year span, they won 178 championships, including Olympic gold. So just 1% improvement in these areas got them to their goal, right? So that's not nothing, right? That's not just a little motivation. That's really, they moved themselves forward just by that little bit of improvement. Okay. So a little improvement can go a really long way, even 1%. And most of us can improve more than 1%. Most of us can do 5, 10. There's some of us that can do like 50, and there's those that can do almost 100 too. So imagine that, right? Imagine what that would get you. Right? It's not the goals that are going to get you to your goals. Your goals define your why. You need that. I'm doing this because but they're not going to get you there. It's the systems that you set up for your habits that are going to get you to your goals. So even if you didn't even have any goals, Maybe you just had a belief, right? And that you believe that you're going to do this, or you believe it's important or something like that. Even if you didn't have any goals out there and you just set about making these habits where they're automatic every single day. Okay, so you have to make it automatic. Okay, and I'm going to monitor comments here. And I know there's lots of them coming in. Okay. Deborah says, narrowing it down, worst habit, last minute cooking, best habit, growing food. Those are good. That's not bad. Okay. Okay, so because winners and losers have the same goals, right? We're talking about the goals, they define your why, but they're not going to get you there, because the losers, right, in the bicycle competition, they had the same goal to win, right? So that's the thing. And the thing is that I feel like is something that's missing if you're one of those people who have the same goal like year after year, right? You have the same New Year's resolution year after year after year. Well, that's the goal, but there's something missing between the time that you state the goal and then reaching the goal, which is the systems, the habits, the automation that will get you there. Okay. The other thing is that a lot of people, especially like myself, I always say, oh, I'll just be happier if I lose 50 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever it is. And I'll just be so much happier when I get there. Well, the thing is that, I'm waiting to get there. I'm not happy in the moment. And so I feel like a lot of people do that. And, I remember when I was younger and I would say something like, oh, I just can't wait until, and my mother would always say, don't ever do that because you're wishing your life away, right? And that's the truth, because you have to fall in love. You have to want to have those habits. You have to fall in love with the system and making everything automatic. So that's a big thing in terms of people setting these goals and then really not understanding, not knowing how to get there, right? Now, this isn't quite the same as a plan. There's a place for that as well. This is more of setting up your day-to-day routine in terms of it being automatic. Because if it's automatic, you're going to do it even if you really don't feel like doing it, because it's just what you do. You're just on autopilot. Okay. So you might say that the outcome that you want is, I want a full pantry, right? And then the process might be, I'm going to can things this year. Okay, well, the thing is that there's another component that we have to put in there, and that is identity. So if you are a canner, you identify as a canner. Well, I'm a canner, so of course I'm going to can. I'm a canner. So if you don't have that identity, that ownership of whatever it is that you're trying to do, well, I stock my pantry because that is who I am. I believe in a stock pantry. I'm a stalker, right? Not the bad kind, the good kind. So anyway, the thing is that if you are thinking, if your mindset is such that you identify as this person that you want to become, or maybe you already are, maybe, that you've just maybe fallen off the wagon, or maybe you just want to get better, right? You identify as whatever it is that you're trying to do. So the thing is that takes a little bit of brain work, because of, if you're a canner, well, you wouldn't go a season without canning because you're a canner, right? So that's one example. Okay. But most people don't even think about that identity part of it. They just are focused on the goal, right? They just want to get to what they have set out for themselves. They're not thinking day by day. If you are a healthy person, you will eat healthy food, right? So you identify as a healthy person. That's your identity. So if you are just a dieter, right? Well, I'm just going to eat healthy food for this short time. So you're a dieter. You're not a healthy person. See the difference with the I mean, it's subtle, but it's really, really powerful. Okay. So most people, like I said, they don't even consider that. So there are 4 different ways to help a habit start and really make everything automatic. And that is, and like I said, it's in this book. So if you are interested in forming these habits, get the book. It's Atomic Habits. Let me hold it up again in case people are coming in late. And I'm sorry, Instagram, it's backwards. Atomic Habits by James Clear. And this is all in here. Okay, so there's 4 different ways that you can change your behavior. So you can make it obvious, you can make it attractive, you can make it easy, and you can make it satisfying. So let's go through those really quick so that maybe it gets you thinking and you want to form some new habits. Okay, so the first thing is that you are going to want to take an inventory of your old habits. We talked about this just a second ago. Because if you don't know what you're doing currently and how it's affecting you, then you're not going to be able to make changes. So you really want to, it's always going to be subjective, but as objectively as you can, step back and see what things you're doing, what things you want to change, prioritize even. Okay, so one of the best ways to start a new habit is to basically just state it. Just say it out loud. And you would be, you'd be surprised. Try it and see. So let's just say, I will feed my sourdough at 8 a.m. in the kitchen. Just say it out loud, right? And then you are verbalizing it. You are making an intention of doing it. And so it's a mindset thing. It's a sort of a mind trick, if you will. But if you just verbalize it, it's just, thinking versus it coming out of your mouth, because we all know, even like when we talk with a friend or something, sometimes when we say things, it's just a different realm, right? Because we are communicating with another person and then we hear ourselves and we have to formulate the thoughts in a little bit different way. So if you just say it, maybe you say it to somebody to hold you accountable. We'll talk about that in just a second. But just saying it, just being specific and saying, this is what I'm going to do. That is one way to start a good habit. Another way is called habit stacking. So what you're going to do is you will do something that you are trying to start doing, because I doubt that anybody hates to feed their sourdough starter, right? But maybe you're just not remembering it really well every day. So you would say that. You would say, well, I'm going to feed my sourdough starter at 8 a.m. in the kitchen, and then I'm going to take my dog for a walk. So that's something that you really enjoy doing, but you want to do the habit that you're trying to form first, and then the one that you really enjoy. Okay, and then the other thing is, here's another example. Maybe you already feed your sourdough starter every day. So maybe you're trying to spend some time, maybe with your gardening. Because gardening is seasonal, so we're not going to do the same thing every day. But maybe you have a time frame every day that you want to spend on your garden, even now that you're not in the garden, right? Maybe it's on seeds, planting, all that sort of thing. So you would say that you were going, after I feed my sourdough starter, which you do every day, let's just turn it around, then you're going to spend 15, 30 minutes working on gardening, planning, or whatever it is that you're doing in this season, right? Because you can change it as the year goes on. You would maybe in the spring, you're going to make sure that the moisture is there in the soil, and then you're going to check for bugs later on, or pest, that kind of thing. So you want to habit stack, right? You're going to do one habit and then the next. Okay. Then structure it in such a way that you don't need to use willpower. Okay, so this would be something like, if we'll just use social media, like if if it's really difficult to not browse Facebook or Instagram before you do these things, then maybe you only have those apps on your desktop, or maybe there's some different applications that can lock those apps until a certain time. So you might think about that, because you don't want to have to use willpower every single time that you want to go and start a new habit, because willpower is going to run out. You want to make it structured where you're setting yourself up for success. Okay, so if you buy junk food like in the grocery store, here's another example, then don't go down those aisles, or go to a grocery store that does not carry junk food, like a health food store or something like that. Okay, so another way is to make it attractive. Okay, so this is what I was talking about just a second ago about making it a reward. Like if you're going to feed your sourdough, then you're going to take your dog for a walk afterwards, so you're making that attractive, and then you're habit stacking as well. Another example would be after I take a fridge inventory, say you don't like taking inventory, that you will go and walk your dog. Or after I take inventory of the fridge, then I'll go to the Facebook group, Natural Growing, Cooking, and Preserving, and see what's new, because that's stacking something and rewarding yourself for that. Okay. Then the other thing is, I alluded to this just a second ago, but I want to talk about it here. It is a good idea to surround yourself with friends who have the habits that you want. Now, I'm not saying to abandon people in need or anything like that, because there's a place for that. But if you have friends that you're hanging out with a lot, you seeing a lot of, talking to a lot, and they have bad habits, well, maybe it's time to spend a little bit less time with them and a little bit more time with maybe somebody who has those good habits that you're after, and or working on the habits, right? Because we're social creatures, so we're influenced by each other. It's just the way it is. So you just want to examine that. Okay, let's see. I have my notes here, so I don't want to miss anything. So we're gonna, that just by that, you also want to figure out if there are some bad habits that you want to break, and you can reverse engineer some of this stuff. But you need to figure out why you're doing what you're doing. Like if you're overeating, like me, why are you doing that? Are you bored? Do you have, you have some emotions that you don't want to share? Are you procrastinating because you don't want to go and do some deep work, that you have to do wherever it is? So you really need to figure out what it is that's causing you to do the bad habit, so that you can replace that need with a good habit. Okay, so you want to make it easy. That's the second thing, is you want to make it easy. So the thing is that, right, your bad habits are there because they have been enforced. There's repetition, and time again. That's part of learning, is repetition. So if you keep doing something, it's going to be that much more ingrained, right? And it's going to be that much more harder to stop. Not impossible, but just be aware of that, because it also works for good habits. So if you have a good habit and you do it over and over and over, that is part of the learning process. You're reprogramming your brain. So that it's hard in the beginning, but it makes it easier in the long run, because you're on autopilot. You do it. It's just part of who you are, your identity. And so that's what I was saying before, when even if you don't really feel like doing it, you find yourself halfway done, because it's just what you do, right? And this is what we want, right? Because most of the time we do feel like doing it, but there's always those days, right? Okay, so the other thing is, to make it easy, you want to start slow. Just really, really slow. Like if you want to read more, just read one page a day, just one. You don't have to read a whole book or a whole article, just read one page, and start with small increments. Now, I know the reverse argument to that is, well, I don't see progress if I'm just doing one a day, but I promise, if you just stick with it, if you just concentrate on the system and not the results right away, you will get there. you will definitely get there. Okay, so if you want to eat more vegetables or more salad, more raw vegetables even, just eat one a day. Just eat 1 carrot a day. And then you can add to it as you go. So you need to start slow, and then once that one thing, that one page that you read, that 1 carrot that you eat is just automatic, then you go on to the next, right? So then you'll eat 2 vegetables a day, and then you will read 2 pages a day. And then that's how you form habits. Because the thing is, like I said, it has to be automatic. Okay. Let's see here. Make it attractive. We talked about that? Let's see. I think I skipped over some things here. Okay, let me go back and talk about the different ways. Okay, so make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and then here's one: make it satisfying. Okay, so the thing is, when you make it satisfying, there's a couple ways you can do this. You could do the reward thing like we talked about. If you feed your sourdough at 8 a.m. in the kitchen, then after you do that, then you get a reward of taking your dog for a walk. You could, you could make a reward after so much time that if you've kept up the habit, then you will get a certain thing. Like if you, maybe it's a dinner out, or maybe it's just that you get to play a game with your kids, or you have people over, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be expensive, or you don't have to spend a lot of money. Just something that you enjoy doing. After a certain amount of time, then you get this reward. Another way to do it is, let's take the example of exercising. Say that you want to go for a walk like every day, maybe taking your dog, maybe you don't have a dog, something like that, and you want to listen to a podcast or the radio or some music even, then you would pair that with the thing that you're trying to make a habit of. So in other words, you're only going to listen when you're walking. So it's making it where it's satisfying because you get to do the thing you want while you're doing this other thing that you're trying to make a habit of. So those are the ways that you form new habits, is those 4 things. And like I said, there's a ton more information because I just skimmed the surface in this book. Like I said, I have no affiliation, but I just wanted to share it with you because it is most awesome. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's backwards here on Instagram. Sorry about that. But I highly recommend it, and you can find it on Amazon. Okay, so basically what I want to do is in the whole spirit of forming new habits, we are going to start next week actually. We're going to start a from scratch toolkit workshop. So these are tools to help you form new habits around cooking from scratch. So some things, it's going to be download heavy. In other words, there'll be quite a few downloads just to help you, resources. And there'll also be videos as well. And so the thing is, if you have these things and you set yourself up for success, then chances are you are going to cook from scratch more, right? And that is the way that you start this habit of cooking from scratch, and also planning it out. And you can have some goals around that. And we'll talk about that in the series. But I wanted to share that link with you. It is not up yet, but be sure to sign up so you'll get all the notifications. I think Bill's putting it on the screen right now. So it's right here below me, Instagram. It's not, so I'm going to tell it to you. It is selfreliantschool.com/habits. So if you go there, you can sign up for this workshop. And like I said, you'll get, when it starts, you'll get the videos and you'll get the PDF downloads. Like I said, the downloads are going to be pretty much just tools to help you, because that's what we're calling it, the From Scratch Toolkit. Okay, so be sure and check that out. I'm going to go over here and look at comments on Facebook. I promise Instagram, I'm going to get there. Like I said, I didn't forget, but I couldn't get on there. And there's a trick that I need to put on that tablet so that I can see the comments. Okay. Let me see here. Yeah, Bill put it in the comments on Facebook for the From Scratch Toolkit. So if you're interested in that, you can just click on that link. Okay, David says, hooray, toolboxes rock, yay! Yes, it's going to be pretty cool. Sherry says, reward equals chocolate cake. Okay, so that is the spirit, yes. Okay, so if you have questions, please put them in the comments. And on Instagram, please, you can instant message me on Instagram if you'd like. Like I said, I'm so sorry about not being able to see. And I am going to, sometimes Facebook will let me see the comments and sometimes it won't. But I'm going to go over here in a different window really quick and make sure that I'm seeing more than just a few of the comments. And hopefully I will. So, and I will go back, like I said, if I miss any, and I will answer questions about that. So, well, let's see, maybe this will help me. Margaret, let's see. Oh, it's jumping on me, so I couldn't see it. Okay. Go back up here. And maybe, oh goodness. Okay. Lori says she wants to learn how to can food. That is a good goal to have. And let's see, Rain says best habit, squeaky clean eating, planting and harvesting mini crops. Worst habit, after 3 days of meal planning, I got off book and wing it. Okay, yeah, so all that planning and then now you're just winging it. I totally get it. Dawn says bad, I do too much. Good, I research as part of my planning. That's, yeah, that is good. It's not good to do too much though, but yeah, you do a lot, I know. Okay, Rachel says best habit, triple checking info and sources. Worst habit, backseat driving. Yes, I understand. Hey, Maura. Okay, so yeah, so if you have questions about anything that I've said here today about the habits, please put them in the comments and I will go back and answer them. You can always also email me, Jennifer@selfreliantschool.com, because Facebook doesn't always show me all the comments. I try and get to as many as I can, but definitely do that. And like I said, if you have something that you'd like me to answer, go ahead and email me. That would be just fine as well. Okay, so I think that is going to cover everything. And thank you so much, Instagram, for being patient. Like I said, next time I promise I will get it where I can see you guys. But I love it that you tuned in. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the group. Bye.